I mean, he's clearly a troublemaker who allows.
It's part of the shtick, though, right?
It's part of his guise.
It's part of his thing
of being a rock star.
He's got to double down.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and
he's gonna have to kill more people. It's episode 67, baby. 67.
2 bases from 69.
We're getting there, dude. One day at a time. All right.
Ready to pop off.
Milam and Greene.
Milam and Greene.
We've had one of these before.
It was not this one.
It was not this one. It was a blue label for those that are paying attention to the video. This is the very small batch. The very, very small batch.
VSP.
Straight bourbon whiskey finished with charred French oak staves. We ready?
Ready.
We're going to get into that.
Want to do a roll call? Yeah.
What's a roll call? You want to talk to me about that?
Oh, we got you, we got me, we got Isaiah, we got Josh.
What is this, like
everyone's
the Concords
Everybody's
band
here.
meeting? Like
everyone's here, baby.
Everybody's
All right.
here.
To create this luxurious spirit, Heather Greene and her team batch their own Kentucky straight bourbon made using a mash bill that includes malted rye with a rich Tennessee straight bourbon. The team then finishes the whiskey with sun-dried and house-charred French oak to create a decadent overlay of marshmallow, dark fruits, and baking spice notes. At the high proof of 54% ABV, sip neat for full textured mouthfeel, or add water if needed, is what it says in the back label.
Just hearing how that may taste.
Oh, baby,
I got goosebumps.
Let's go. All right. Now,
What's up?
pour a little bit of this out. Pass it around.
Pour some out for the homies.
The first item on the list. Oh my God, we lost the top. My bad. It's been recovered. All right, the first item on the list this week. Everybody can appreciate this. Apple products. It's an
that's fun.
Apple product
That's
drop.
fun.
Now, for anybody that knows us personally, they know that a lot of us here have worked at Apple. We spent a lot of time at Apple, many
Apple
years.
fanboys,
And
big geeks.
the Apple product drop is something that we all look forward to and appreciate.
Anticipate, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun little time for everybody.
Little keynote action.
iPhone season in particular
It's a fun time.
is a fun time.
It's a fun time in all, right? Like, you get to, the build up to it, all of the leaks or what have you.
Sure.
Then you watch the keynote.
Yes.
Right? And then the pre-orders. And then, you get people that pre-order, like you're a pre-order person.
Yeah, it's the only Apple product, truthfully, that you kind of like pre-order.
Yeah.
Now, I guess like the headset might be different. Like maybe there'll be pre-orders
when that
for
comes out, yeah.
perhaps, most likely, I would guess.
And then,
But there's no other product that gets the pre-order hype like the phone does,
like
right?
computers, you kind of wait on. iPad
Watches.
is kind of like watches
watches,
too.
yeah.
You might.
Yeah, watch is borderline, I feel like.
Yeah.
I will say that when the watch was announced, I immediately went on to see what the refurb price on the previous gen was. And I think I
Yes.
might
Oh,
snatch myself up one of those.
The Ultra
Yeah.
one.
No, the Series 8.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know if
I
I'm
did
an
that too,
Ultra
yeah.
person.
There are some good prices out there on the Series 8. I don't think I'm an Ultra person, not yet. If they made a smaller one, perhaps. I don't like the...
If they took the form factor from the Ultra and applied it to the smaller, like a
Cost-wise,
smaller type.
Yeah.
Cost-wise, I think it's a real good bang for your buck because it's only $50 more than the
That's
than
a
the
5-year
larger
watch.
stainless.
Yeah, that's a 5-year watch.
Yeah.
You're saying you're going to keep it for 5 years?
I mean, you could
You think the
potentially.
battery in there is going to last you 5 years?
This
I
is a
mean-
Series 4.
We got 2
How you
Series
doing?
4s
You
right here,
getting-
baby.
You
Great.
going all day on that?
Yeah, what am I at right now? Stand by. 50%.
Oh my God.
Yeah, where am I?
Yeah.
And I am running I don't have it on now, but I am running a Series 1,
Oh, okay.
the Apple Watch.
Series 1, my God.
Series 1. Wow.
Welcome
it's
to
running all day.
2013.
Good grief. All right. I have a Series 6. That's what I'm at. And I don't know if I get all day on it, but at least I feel like I don't.
I definitely do not get all day. If I get up, I usually get up around 6:45, 7.
Sure.
I get dressed. I don't usually put my watch on until about 7:30. Around 5:30, 6. It's
starts
like
to fade on you.
I gotta resuscitate it.
Yeah, for sure. So nobody,
But,
it doesn't sound like anybody pre-ordered themselves a watch.
No.
I
kind of feel like they're
not.
always readily available.
That is very true. Yeah. Especially with, I feel like the last several generations, just because they've been all very similar.
Very. Yep.
And then on the phone front, no pre-orders here other than myself. Although you're, I think, in the market. Perhaps.
I've gotten a new phone every year for the past 4 years. I don't pre-order. I just kind of wait till it's available, either Apple Store or carrier.
And what's the logic behind that?
I'm an instant gratification person.
You like to walk out with
I
it.
like to go into the store, get it,
Got you.
and then go home. Like the whole like waiting in the mail just kind of like gives me anxiety for whatever reason. I don't know why. Also a big thing for me as a, we all have our fanboy kind of like niches. Like I like to go to the store and look at the phone before I purchase.
I try to avoid the Apple Store at all costs.
I still think it's fun, man.
It's kind of like the last place.
like it.
It's like the last place I want to go.
You want to go Friday? Like maybe we can do. Oh, are you working?
I mean, no, actually, I'm not. Could do.
Okay, we could do.
I thought I was leaving Friday morning, and then yesterday I found out no, the flight's actually Saturday morning. So I would probably be off work.
Yeah, I've been looking for somebody to kind of like go with me to the store.
Yeah, I'd go to the store
just to look at it and just kind of
check it out,
dick around. Whatever.
Sure, why not?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Very good. I pre-ordered.
You did.
I'm a pre-order guy. I do it every year.
You're on
Do you
iHub,
ship it
right?
or do you pick up?
No, I ship it. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not trying to. Nothing against the Apple Store. I just.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I don't really
You
feel
wanna
like I
avoid
want
it.
to.
Yep,
I don't want to
I'm
go
with
over
you.
there and get all invested in that. You know what I mean? And it's so easy to have it dropped off. Then you just put the old one in the mail, send it back.
send it
It's so
back.
simple.
I feel you.
They designed this process for people like me, so I take advantage.
For sure.
That's all.
For sure.
But yeah, so I pulled the trigger on it. I went with the black phone. I told you guys earlier.
We had a lot of
chat. A lot of back and forth.
Yeah, about what we're gonna do.
Emily kind of shamed me a little bit.
What?
Slightly. And she's valid. I have done some off-color phones in the past, like meaning non-traditional colors. And I've
Like a gold,
I've
rose
done the gold, I've done the white, I've done some of that, and I've regretted it like halfway through my
I'm sorry about
ownership
that.
of
Yeah.
it. And I've been like, man, I really wish I had gone with the black phone. And I don't doubt that the natural titanium is going to look good. I think it probably looks good. All the videos I've seen of it, it looks nice. It does. But there's a part of me that I think I'll probably feel like, man, at some point, I should have stuck with it.
That's so interesting to me because I've had the pink 7 Plus,
Yes.
the gold 10, now the blue, the what's it called? I can't think of what it's called.
Purple.
No, the 14.
Oh.
The blue one.
Pacific blue.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Is it purple? Wait, it might be purple. Is it
No,
purple?
Your phone now?
14.
What do you have now?
It is purple. Yeah, right. Purple. Yeah, and I
He tosses
love
it.
it. Yeah, fuck it. I know people. And I feel like I'm fine with it. Like I don't see how the idea of I've been burned by choosing a color is a thing. I don't know.
I think he has a deep
I don't know
sentiment.
what to tell you.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm just explaining my experience,
your
dude.
point of view.
Just
Are
explaining
you
my experience.
microdosing right now? You're very laid back.
I'm just saying that's my experience. I had the gold phone and I just reflected on it.
I've had
About halfway through ownership.
that's
I was like,
a real
man, I made
thing.
a poor
I've
choice.
had one of my very close friends, one of my New York buddies, Reggie. He had gotten a gold phone, and I think he returned it like 2 weeks later. He was like, "I'm not doing this. Like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not committing to this." And I get it. I get it. It's a
Very interesting.
I'm personally a person that's sorry. I'm personally someone who likes uniformity. So I
Yes.
like all of my
Things to match.
devices to match.
Correct.
Yeah,
Well, there's
yeah.
not like there's a black MacBook Pro or anything. So I feel like I
Yeah.
don't have none of my stuff really matches, but the black phone is there's a consistency in that
Yeah.
I really appreciate. And I also, at the end of the day, like it is kind of just a phone to me. And I try not to like fixate too much on the color, I think, at the end of the day. So
Once you go black,
there is a saying.
there it is.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
No, it's true.
Shut up, Josh.
So yeah, I went with it. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll, I guess on iUp you can, exchange.
you're on iUp.
You can,
I'm not on
You could
iUp.
exchange a phone. Though you got like 2 weeks.
You are on iUp? Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
You're
What
not,
do you-
you'd buy all
I
right.
can't because I'm still on the sweet.
I don't know what that
right.
means, but all right.
Do you
That's
have a-
sweet dealer plan.
Can you can do an exchange on an iUp, can't you? You got 2 weeks.
I think so. Yeah, we used to work there.
No?
Of course you can.
I don't know. I have
Yeah,
no
I think
idea.
you
I'm
can.
asking Jeff.
I think you can.
I don't think.
So I mean, I
you
guess if
can.
like I really got
Yeah.
upset with myself, I could make the exchange.
Yeah, the only reason I'm considering the natural titanium this year is because I want an ultra watch because I've had to buy a watch every 2 years for the past 4 years.
Got you.
Right. and I want a watch that's just gonna live with me for for an extended amount of time that I don't have to.
See.
So now the only contention with that is I'm probably not gonna live with my phone for that extended amount of time. So now I'm stuck with a watch that's probably not gonna be uniform to my phone.
Yeah,
Black
they might
watch.
change
Right, so now I
change the color.
you
Yeah,
know.
Black watch and black band.
Yeah.
I think the Ultra watch is very appealing.
Yeah.
For so many reasons for me.
It's a beautiful watch. Yeah.
It's huge. That's not appealing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not in.
And
That's
the
why I
new
don't like
watch in general is appealing strictly for the tap, which I think
That
is
is
going to just
awesome,
be,
man.
which I think is one of those features that everybody hypes and then no one uses.
Yeah.
Until
don't-
you see someone else use it, like the
So and I hate so much in the presentation that he mentioned it again, whatever the guy's name is that was out on the pier. I forget which one it was.
Yes, they
When
always
he's
switch it
doing
up,
the
yeah.
presentation and he goes, "You've always been able to just tap the screen to silence a notification." And I hate that he did that. So Zach Rattini does it all the time.
you mentioned Zach on here.
But
all the time.
if he goes like this and looks at the watch to check the time, he'll go and
Why? You just
he's abusing his wrist.
You just
He's like,
turn your
"I'm
wrist
turning-
and it turns
I'm turning the
off."
screen off. That's what you do. And I feel like that was another one of those features that they really hyped in the beginning and then never mentioned it. And I was like, oh, that feature's going to die. And then they brought it back again. They're like, of course you can
Well,
always do
there's
this.
a caveat to that feature, right? If your phone is ringing, you silence it. But if you just look at it and you just turn your wrist, it just goes away. So we got to talk to
why
Zach.
not? So the tap the tap is cool,
Yeah.
The tab.
but I don't think it's worth buying a new watch for that.
Just for that? No.
It's also not hardware specific.
Of course,
We
not.
learned that.
Of
We talked
course
about
it's
that.
not.
So
Yeah.
they did ask somebody during the little keynote thing, the little trials that they have afterwards. Somebody did ask about whether or not it was a feature that could be rolled out to other watches, and the reason that they had said was that basically the processors on the older watches, there was a incompatibility with the speed at which they could actually interpret the signal. Which
yeah.
But it's possible.
That's kind of BS, I
Right.
think.
Yeah, I think it is too. So that's one of those things. The other thing with the phone, I think I'm fine with a non-pro phone. At this point, the non-pro device still does the
true.
48 megapixel RAW now.
Yes.
It's still great. I think I'd be fine without it, but I love the high refresh rate of the display. That's
Yeah.
the only thing keeping me pro
That
right now.
high-
But
yeah.
I could save $300 not getting a pro phone.
But
and just
do they
get a
have
Max.
but aren't all the colors on the Pro phone a little different? Aren't they?
They are a little more distinguished.
They're very
Yeah.
soft, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah,
not-
Yeah.
The regular phone is much brighter. They're like
Yeah,
Easter, right?
yeah,
Which
yeah.
I'm fine with. I love all of them.
Yeah,
Like,
you're
we
a
ta-
color
we talked
guy.
about
You
it,
love
right?
some
I
color.
love it.
You love some
You
color.
love some color.
And I don't think I'm going to do Max again. I think this is too big.
Yeah,
I like the regular.
That's what
So
she said.
if I'm there, it is. So going from this to a regular 15, I could save $500.
I thought
by
about
not
that. I
going
thought about
Pro
going
Max.
regular size again, but I've just gotten so accustomed.
and he wants that telephoto lens.
I think I do, man. I think I do.
I think the
He
telephoto
wants to be able to
lens.
zoom in.
I think the telephoto lens is in the regular. It's the wide angle that's not.
It's not.
No,
5X
it's the
zoom.
yeah.
The
it's-
5X
Oh, the
zoom.
fi-
It's
sure.
it's the telephoto that's missing.
The 5X telephoto, the new lens technology does not exist in the Pro.
I agree with
I don't
you.
think
it's in
you
the
need
Pro
it.
Max.
No, I agree with you. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about non-pro versus pro.
Sorry.
Because non-pro has regular and telephoto.
Yes.
It doesn't have wide angle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay. Very
yeah,
good.
yeah, sorry. I'm talking about the
No,
new,
no,
the
understood.
new camera
Yeah.
tech
What was it? Tetra,
that they're rolling out. baby.
Tetra lens, Tetra.
It's only in the Max. They've done this before.
They make up
did
words.
this.
They did with the plus.
Yeah, they did the same thing.
The stabilization.
They had the stabilization. If you really wanted to get that premium experience, you had to go
Gosh,
big.
I am disappointed every time I take a sip. Sorry, this is unrelated.
I don't
didn't
know
realize
what that is. We didn't.
It's
somebody
still-
gave it to us.
It's still water. It's not seltzer. I thought it was a
Got
seltzer.
you. Sorry.
It's still water with vodka.
Don't drink it, man. If you don't like it,
Well, it was the last one in there, and I felt bad that
It's
I was
probably
like,
really
it was a
terrible.
gift to us. We were never going to drink it.
Can I do it on? Can I put it on there?
Honestly, you could throw it out the window.
It's really good. I mean, it would probably really good on ice
In a
with
soda
like
stream.
some fruit.
I just
Put that in the
I don't
soda
know.
stream, it's
They were
probably-
gifts. It wasn't like a
Zero
thing that-
sugars, zero carbs. This
I'm
is
not
on,
a-
It
attached
is
to
just water, vodka, and blueberry flavor. I
says-
mean, it's fine. It just would be much better with carbonation.
Yeah,
mom
not
water,
attached.
blueberry peach, has Linda written sideways.
That's the name of that one. The other
right.
one is
This
like
one is
Jessica
called
or
Linda?
something. Yeah.
I wonder what Karen tastes like.
What's the next item on the list, baby?
Please, yeah, let's move on. Jesus Christ.
Convicting a Murderer with Candace Owens.
Candace Owens.
Here you go, bro.
Before we get back, before we hop off this, I had a slight hot take earlier.
What's up?
And I think that, not that anybody from Apple is listening, but I do think they should eliminate the storage capacity options altogether and just go flat rate across the board. Like every iPhone they sell should just be 512 or 1 terabyte or 1 terabyte or whatever.
But then you
Stop giving the options. Just like every phone, you either have like the Max or like you just pick
if
your
you
color.
get a Max, you get a terabyte.
You pick your color.
You get regular Pro,
You pick your
you get
model.
512, right?
But stop charging people like extra $100 for every 128, 256, 512. Like just knock that off.
That's Apple's thing, though.
I know, but just get
It
rid of
sucks.
that.
It stinks.
There's
And
also
they could also charge less and still make more. Like it costs them
people
an
will
extra
buy
few
more,
dollars to
yeah.
go from 128 to 256.
That's what I'm saying.
But if they
Yeah.
raised the price across the board of the base model and made it 512, everybody's getting 512. Everybody's got to pay the fee.
Yeah.
But it's still not the cost of a 512.
That's what
phone.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just like find the medium and just cut the other ones.
And
out.
that was a whole thing too with Steve Jobs coming back to Apple in the 90s.
You have
His
a
big
whole
thing
meal.
was, I hate that there's a Performa 9800 and a 9802 and a 9804 and a 9806, and you can do slightly different with this.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the storage. You commented on the 14, I think, doing ProRes. You could only do ProRes if you have X amount of free storage space.
Yes.
And now we're seeing that the new RAW format, the log format, can only be done on a 128 if you're recording to external storage.
Correct. Yeah.
But you could do it natively on the built-in on the 256.
It just
or
makes
higher.
all that just
Yeah,
seems
it's all so silly.
it's
Right.
too silly.
Right.
Too silly. All right, moving on. Convicting a murderer with Candace Owens. Now we all know who Candace Owens is, right? You guys
Do we?
know who Candace Owens is.
I know who people are, and then you say their names, and I have no clue.
Candace Owens, correct me if I'm wrong, but she is a reporter, a journalist. She's in the news.
You could use that word.
if you will. Is she not?
Is that what she does?
Is that what she's? But is that what?
What is she known
Is
for?
it what she calls
What's
herself?
give me a title.
It is what she calls
So
herself,
remember
yes.
when Kanye was
She's a
like,
commentator.
yeah, remember when Kanye was going around with, didn't she? What was the shirt that she was wearing? Didn't it say White Lives Matter or something?
Her.
Remember
Got
that?
it.
Wasn't that
That's
her?
it. That's all you had to say. Yeah. Yes, I am familiar with who this lady is. Yeah, she's a conservative, right wing.
Yes.
pundit,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
But would she classify herself as a journalist or a reporter? That's what she would say.
Yeah,
Would
that's
she
probably
say,
what
she
she would
says
say.
she's a pundit.
A pundit. Okay.
Pundit. That's
Fair
a good
enough.
word.
So apparently there is a
college
show.
educated over here.
There's a new show that's out, Convicting a Murderer, which is a companion show to Making a Murderer, where she and I guess other experts, or she and experts, basically rebuttal or rebut. Is that a word? Making a
Rebut.
Murderer. Rebut.
Yes.
Making a Murderer. So they basically, I think it's 10 episodes long. It's a pretty extensive series, but just like Making a Murderer was trying to kind of pitch Steven Avery's innocence, this show kind of takes the other side and I suppose reveals evidence and a perspective that would suggest that he is in fact guilty. Now, I've not watched any of it, but they did premiere the first episode on Twitter, or X, if you will. And I think the rest of it is on an odd streaming service, one that I wasn't familiar with. Is it Daily Mail Plus? Is that what it's called?
The Daily Wire.
Daily Wire. Daily
this
Wire
new?
Plus.
So no,
I couldn't
the
find
Daily
it on Apple
Wire,
TV.
It new-ish. It's not one of the big streaming services.
Okay.
But they do a lot of politically charged things.
It's run by Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it's slightly conservative in who they have on there as their host.
They're not gonna say.
Understood.
They're not gonna say they're conservative. They're
No,
just
no,
gonna-
no.
They're
They
just
will.
going to side with conservative
No,
topics.
no, they will.
Yeah.
But-
Got you.
They have notable people like Dr. Jordan Peterson, if you know who that is.
Yes. Yeah.
He's a big contributor to the Daily Wire.
Okay.
And he's their more liberal side of things.
Got you.
Okay.
So, correct, Josh or
Yeah.
Isaiah, whomever may know this answer, can look it up. This is streaming on Daily Wire Plus. Is that
Yes.
where do you get that?
TheDailyWirePlus.com.
So I can watch this on a computer.
Yes, you can watch it on the computer.
they have
I don't
an app?
think
Do they have an app on Apple TV? I don't think so.
I'm not sure about an app on Apple TV. I know they have an iPhone app.
Okay.
Because Jordan Peterson had a series on there that I did watch. So I did the free trial.
Okay. So they do have an app on the phone. I searched for it. I did like the little Apple TV search feature, and I tried to type in the show last night, and it never came up. So I bailed on it. But
this is good, guys. You can get a discount when you're streaming using code TRUTH.
Perfect. What's the discount, though?
8. What is it? Do the math quickly. 20%. 20% off.
That's a pretty
good
deal.
It goes from $20 down to $16 for the all access. That's the top of the line.
But now, is this an app that I can get on my Apple TV, or do I have to use
I'm
this as a phone
unsure
thing?
on that still. I'm trying to figure
All
it out.
that conspicuous right wing
Moving.
coding.
I do love that as I scroll through that, this is when we should have the Apple TV. So there's Candace Owens. And then you're like, okay, great. We scroll more. Oh, the Daily Wire. There she is again.
Perfect.
And we can get amazing movies. Oh, there she is again.
Candace Owens.
So they are hyping this as a streaming service, though.
They are.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, there's
Very
kids
good.
content
Very
too
good.
if you want to.
Yeah,
definitely not indoctrinate your children.
I love it.
Wow.
All right. So now the question is, would you take a stab at this show? I know Candace Owens is a little bit of a controversial figure, but given the show content or the topic is a relatively,
I'll watch anything.
universal thing, how do you feel? Do you take a stab, or do you think like, no, I can't? I can't have somebody walk in on me with Candace Owens on the screen.
Okay, so
You didn't even really know who she was, so
I know who she. Yeah, it's tough. Like I'll know who people are, and then totally forget. I'm definitely an out of sight, out of mind person.
Yeah. I was that way when I was at Fashion Week last week.
Yeah,
Saw so many famous people.
Yeah, and you'll just be like,
Who
who's
are
that?
they?
Well,
Give me names.
Oh, yeah,
Can't
they
tell
did
you.
what? Yeah, and then it snowballs, and then you remember, right? I don't know, man. Like, sometimes you got to draw the line on like what your morals are,
Yeah.
and like what you're gonna support, and like what is what am I doing right now by watching this is going to passively support this.
Yeah.
Like just me allowing my intrigue to view it is giving it a view, which is then gonna in turn give this gas to continue,
Sure.
right? So it's one of those things like, do you kind of teeter the line on your morale to pique your interest, or are you just kind of like, drawing the line like, nah, like I'm not doing that. I know who she is, and no.
I feel like this is a wild thing here. Let me just read this.
read away. Take us through it.
The show is a rebuttal of the 2015 to 18 Netflix documentary series Making a Murder, which argued for the innocence of Steven Avery. Convicting a Murder argues that Avery is in fact guilty and that Netflix irresponsibly attempted to portray him as innocent for media attention. Convicting a Murder further posits that the notion that Avery became a poster child for anti-police agenda in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement, and that efforts to portray him as innocent are part of a widespread liberal agenda to skew public opinion against the criminal justice system.
This changes the entire narrative right now. So this is not a sister show.
It's not about him so much, it seems, as it is about Netflix or other news outlets pushing an agenda.
But not in defense of this. If you read the episode list, like the breakdown of the episodes, they correlate completely with
The
Making a Murderer.
like a partner show.
It's not
to
like
it.
one of the episodes
Sure.
is like the liberal agenda.
No, I understand
Like
that.
every episode is about an aspect of the Making a Murderer show.
I see what you're saying. It's like watching. It's like when there was I'm just using this as an example. When the Pamela and Tommy Lee stuff was like out, right?
Yeah.
There was the show on one network, and then there was the documentary on another network,
course.
and they were kind of refuting facts. Of each other.
When I say that it was like a partnered show or whatever, I'm not
Yeah, no,
saying
I got it.
like
Yeah.
Netflix was a part of that. What I'm saying is it's kind of like a counterpoint to the Netflix show in the sense that it directly is responding to it. And it's kind of like,
I think that's a
A/B
interesting
testing, if you will. So do you give it an episode or two, or do you just
Why not?
You would.
Yeah, why not?
I got to be honest.
I have to watch the first show though.
I really I enjoyed Making a Murderer a lot. I loved it. I thought it was a great series.
That's your
I
niche.
loved
That's your thing.
1 and 2. I was all about it. And I love a good conspiracy theory, and I love a good rebuttal. So I feel like I could give it an episode or two.
This is like
just
watching
to see
court layout on TV.
Is there anything good in there, or is this just chaos?
Fluff.
From the Telegraph article 8 September titled Candace Owens versus Netflix, Why Convicting a Murderer is a Crime Against Television. Critic Ed Power writes, it's a baffling takedown and stokingly tedious.
Stokingly tedious.
I've read some reviews on it, and it's tough because I feel like, and this, again, I might be way off here, but I feel like if Candace Owens wasn't like the face of this,
it might
not receive the scrutiny.
Yeah.
And it might be a little bit more accessible.
So
it's a bold choice putting her on the cover.
In my media digestion, Candace Owens never has a extremely positive digestion to the public. So to possibly have some content that's very meaningful and like something that could be extremely interesting.
Yes.
But then have your name attached to it. Like, she probably should have just been like a silent executive producer. You know what I'm saying? And like,
yeah, but I think she's like the star of it.
Right. And that's the problem. That's where you get the problem. It's her. It's not the show.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. So on the Daily Wire, this isn't her first, like, she's not a guest content creator on the Daily Wire. She has other things.
She's
on
a correspondent.
There. Yeah,
Gotcha.
she's on there.
Yeah.
And the thing I will say that would make me give it a shot is everything that I've seen on the Daily Wire is very well produced.
Okay.
Oh,
So-
the site looks amazing.
Yeah. It's very, very
What are we looking at?
What's that?
Oh, you're downloading it. Very
There we
good.
go.
God bless.
on that thing.
PLEX,
God
baby.
bless. Dude, because I have been trying to figure out where to watch it. All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
So I not to cut you off. I just want to talk about Plex real quick. We have two servers. We have yours, and we have another friend's, and they both got erased by accident because I had to reset the Apple TV. And Chanel was like, "Get Josh's Plex back on here now." she's a big fan.
Well, now that he
Josh.
knows you have
Yeah.
another server, he's feeling some kind of way about it. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to let you.
I got you can add mad servers on there. I got the other one is for anime for Chris. So
Very good.
there you go. Sorry, continue. You need that? Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so everything that I've seen from the Daily Wire, just video wise, is very well produced.
It looks very well. Like it look even this. Like again, I said the site even looks very well catered to, and
Yeah, they definitely don't do what a lot of the Daily Wire isn't fringe, but I'll call it fringe for the sake of
I got you.
other conservative right wing things. They're pretty shoddy. The Daily Wire is very, very good.
Okay.
So I'd give it just off the take of that. I know the experience, my viewing experience isn't going to be bogged down by shaky camera shots and
Fair enough.
it's not
Bad audio.
telemarketers.
So
yeah.
you'll give it a hit. All right.
Josh, what are you eating off camera right now? It looks delicious.
This is lunch. I had pierogies and a cheesesteak with fries. So I ate about
pierogies
half of it.
and fries.
That's right.
And a cheesesteak.
A lot of carbs.
I was about to say it's mad carbs.
A lot of carbs. Not a great choice.
It probably
And the cheesesteak came out, and then I'm sitting there eating it, and I'm like halfway through, and then the pierogies came out. I was like, oh, I forgot I even ordered
this
that.
from Max's.
No.
Oh, where'd you go?
Todd Connors on the corner of Broadway and Alisana.
Okay.
Very affordable crab cake. I think their crab cake was $16,
Lump.
something like that. I have no idea.
real crab meat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole menu looks really good and is very, very affordable.
I haven't eaten it.
They
I
had
don't
a
think I've
six-
ever eaten
My
it.
God.
$6 grilled cheese, and you can add tomato soup for $1 more. Lunch special.
Take my grandma.
Here you go.
Something's off about that. The grilled cheese is $6, but the crab
It's
cakes
just
are-
cheese and bread, bro.
But
You
the
can
crab
add
cakes are
tomato soup for $1 at any of the
$16.
entrees. So same thing at Alexander's. This is really derailing here. But at Alexander's, you can add a soup for $1 more onto most of their entrees.
Okay.
It's great. It's fantastic. I love a good soup and like sandwich lunch deal.
Alexandra's. Wait.
Alexander's,
you're talking
just
about-
right down the street.
Okay. They have a sister, Alexandra's, in Turf Valley. Not that one.
Alexander's.
Ah, got you. Okay.
Yeah, Alexander's Tavern.
Jesus. All right.
There we go.
Next item, Josh.
Yeah. Really sorry about that.
Telemarketers.
People love it.
We're back at
HBO.
Telemarketers.
Telemarketers is the show. This is a good segue.
You finished
'cause
it?
We just it
It was great, man.
Yeah, great show.
very good.
Patrick
the ending was a
J.
little bit of a drop off.
Yeah.
Like it kind of ends on like a anticlimactic note, a touch.
Absolutely. I expected, I don't know, like him to like get like a pie. I don't know. I just expected more.
You expect there to be more of a payoff.
Yeah.
You expected the system to crumble when just last week I got a call from the Fraternal Order of Police.
Yeah, I got one today on the way home.
Really?
I got a call. Yeah,
Yeah, but
I don't answer him.
I have been waiting for a call back from a vet, so I thought maybe it was that.
I will start. I have the what is the iPhone feature? The silence unknown callers.
Yes, sure, but it still pops up on your phone and it says someone's calling.
yeah, no.
It
Like
pops
you get
up.
an acknowledgement.
Yeah. But by the time you see it, the call, it's
In
over.
either case, I answered it and it was a telemarketer, man. What do you want me to do, man?
Did you?
No, I just hung up.
oh no, I
Mess with
now
him a little bit.
No.
knowing what I know now.
Yeah, know what I know
Oh,
now.
it's such a more interesting conversation.
I don't know.
I have 3 minutes for them now.
So-
when I didn't have 15 seconds.
You're gonna pander a little bit.
I got 3 minutes for them.
Now,
guys.
Josh, did you take a pass at any of the telemarketer show?
No, I did not.
Josh, you would love it.
I did not watch it.
What? Okay. All right. I'll say this.
Let's give an honest review here.
In context of who we all are as friends, right? Watching episode 1,
Yes.
and then realizing that it's just an Apple store in 2009, like the nonsense that's going on in there.
I feel like that's probably most
Yeah, it was
entry
great.
kind of.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like this, is, yeah.
Retail, not really retail, but you know what I mean? Like those jobs.
Those first.
I don't feel like that. I don't feel like the story is the unique in the sense that like there's a lot of shenanigans that take place
Yeah,
at those kind of like entry level things.
Oh,
entry-level
for
positions.
sure. No background checks. All we need is your social so we can pay you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. It was. I thought they did a good job of pulling together a lot of very like amateur footage and content. Like I think
Like
that they
putting
did,
that.
they did the best job that they
compiling
could. I don't know if you saw the executive producer list, but it's the Safdie brothers. Danny McBride was in there.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And I want to say it was Jonah. What's the guy that is like his producing partner that does like Step Brothers and all that? Not Jonah Hill. It's Jonah something.
It's there.
Anyway, I think they were like all involved in it, so it had some like pretty big names behind it. But they did a really good job of like bringing all of that content together. Although I don't feel like I don't know. I think it could have used 1 or 2 more episodes
To like flush it all out.
Yeah,
the ending.
maybe because I felt like it kind of just dropped off right at the end. Like I almost was expecting there to be a 4th episode. Like it just ended abruptly.
Like what's gonna happen now?
And maybe
like,
they feel like they'll pick it back up now that the show has found success. Those guys are doing podcasts now. They were on the Stavi's World podcast. Like those dudes are making the rounds, and I think that there's probably going to be more attention on this thing now than ever before. So there's probably future episodes.
From watching it from the beginning. So in the beginning, it looks like it was just a lot of content they compiled, and this is if you haven't seen this this spans 20 years, which is amazing. It's an amazing feat for them to do.
Yeah.
But when you get to season 3, you obviously see a change in production. So
Yes, correct.
I'm thinking after
You said episode 3? You say season
Episode 3.
episode 3, right? I'm thinking after it got picked up and they had less content, HBO stepped in and said, "Hey, now we're going to start following you with cameras to reinvigorate all of the content you had before." Is that what?
Yeah, I think that there was. I think that they were. I think they had the pieces of it, and then I think it got into the hands of somebody of a higher level, right?
Produces
that
film,
was, more or less like, okay, let's try to figure out how we put all this together, because there's certainly a moment where obviously the production
the production value like
improved.
definitely steps up, and it's like, oh, okay,
yeah, it's very I don't know, it's like Jackass meets oh gosh,
Anchorman meets The Daily Show.
It's like Jackass. It's like Jackass meets The Big Short or something.
Yeah.
Like there is something like crazy and like profound happening behind the scenes here, but it's also just like the chaos is just.
there's so many like
beyond
real world elements to it that you can identify with.
Yeah.
That are just so awesome to see. Like Patrick is I think all of us know a Patrick. You know, like all of us know this type of guy.
Yes.
And for him to give his all in this, and he actually did a really good job.
I thought so too.
You know, but you know, there are things you're just kind of like, you just got to laugh at, but ultimately he's giving his all in this. And there's a moment in, I want to say episode 2, when he's in the car. Is it his wife or is she his wife? I'm not sure.
It was like his partner. I don't remember if they were married.
His
or not.
life partner, right?
Yeah.
And they had just went through the part where the main guy finds Patrick again. They're like, all right, we're gonna start doing this again. And you know, we find out that she has cancer, and they're in the car.
Yeah, they kind of reconnect.
And she looks at him and she says, like, you need to do this. Like, and he's like, they just have that intimate moment, and it's just something that everyone can identify with.
Yeah.
Like that's what humanized them in that moment. Like regardless of all of this, you know, I won't say nonsense, but just like the livelihood stuff that surrounded them. Everyone can identify with someone being proud of you. And I thought that was amazing. I thought that was an amazing part of the story that they put in there. And I was just very, very happy for him to have someone happy for him doing this.
A lot of humanity in it.
There you go. It was very, very much humanity.
It's very good. Joshy boy, what's the next thing we got going on?
Next thing on the list, Rotten Tomatoes. The
More
manipulation.
Oh, yeah. So I don't have tons of
It's crooked.
background on this.
It's crooked.
But it has come to light.
And this
recently.
is also things we've discussed previously.
Yes. That there could be some manipulation going on with the Rotten
Just smack your
Tomatoes.
watch.
No, it was a notification. I just hit the button to get it to go away.
I don't want to derail you.
It's okay.
I was gonna ask you,
I didn't do the cover. I just hit the button.
Are you on OS 10?
This?
Yeah.
I have no idea what this is, dude.
Watch OS 10? You
I
didn't
have
know?
no clue.
Okay.
I don't track the OSs on my watch.
I'm so confused on my watch.
As long as
right
it
now.
works when I wake up, that's all that matters.
But go
Speaking
ahead.
of Rotten Tomatoes,
Let's go.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, RT, baby. It seems to be that there is some evidence to suggest that the scores are maybe bought and paid for a little bit.
I've been saying this, Rotten Tomatoes, and you brought this to my attention. I think Rotten Tomatoes is a scam.
Well, okay, so is there a movie in recent memory that you feel as if got a really bad shake on Rotten Tomatoes?
What was the one?
Is there something you can think of that just like was destroyed by Rotten Tomatoes but was ultimately really good?
It was something. It was something comic book. It was a Marvel. It was Ant-Man. Ant-Man, right? Got a terrible critic score, but an awesome audience score.
I didn't think Ant-Man was that good.
I mean, it was enjoyable, but it wasn't. I don't think it was
not that good.
Terrible. You know what I mean? I don't think in the grand scheme of it, it was great. But I don't think it was like. I don't feel like I wasted my money to go see it.
82% audience score, 46%
Right.
critics.
There we go. Yeah.
I honestly, if you'd ask me, I would probably peg it somewhere in the middle of that.
Fair. Very fair.
Like, I don't know
Very
if it's
fair.
a 40%, but like, I don't think it's
an 80. I'd go a
it's
good
probably
65.
Like mid-50s, low 60s.
We can meet there. Yeah.
Like, it was not great. It was okay. Like, I enjoy Paul Rudd, but it's not great.
All right, correct me if I'm wrong. The audience score is audience submitted, correct?
Yeah, it's anybody that's went and saw it. That has
Right.
like an account on Rotten Tomatoes. And
Critic
has gone and seen
score
it.
is based on critics. And it's just interesting that critic scores are always significantly low in comparison to audience scores. And it's just like,
I'm not surprised by that at the same time, because I do think that critics tend to look for different things when they're watching a film as opposed to the audience.
okay.
Like, we have different kind of requirements, I think, for satisfaction, if that makes sense.
there you go.
And there's also another component to Rotten Tomatoes that I don't know if people necessarily take advantage of, but you can, if you go into a film and you're looking at its reviews, you can actually filter out top critics versus like all critics, because that sometimes can have a pretty big impact too. So like, there's just different levels of, I guess, critics as Rotten Tomatoes sees it or whatever. I don't know what it takes to qualify as one or the other, but you can oftentimes get varying scores too if you filter between those things. But I do think the audience, again, like the people that are going to go to the Fast and the Furious, right? Like the audience for Fast and the Furious is probably going to enjoy it for the most part.
Oh yeah,
because
they
those
are
the people that are going to go see it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like I might not go see it. But I'm not the audience.
It's not my thing.
So chances are your audience score is going to be
family,
on,
but it's not my thing.
But your audience score is going to tend to trend higher because they wanted to go see it to begin with.
They want to see
not
Vin
because
Diesel
they
in a
thought
tank
it was
top,
going to be bad,
spinning tires.
or not because they didn't identify with it, because it's like right up their alley.
Yeah, weird.
So the other thing here is the allegation of certain firms paying reviewers for positive reviews to then raise the score.
I think that's absolutely true.
I mean, that makes sense.
So there's an allegation here from the New York Magazine. This article was published almost 2 weeks ago, suggesting that a PR firm had paid low-level, often self-published reviewers for positive write-ups in a way to game score. One alleged example from the expose involved the 2018 film Ophelia, where the film had a 48% rating, but after the PR company's alleged paid reviews, it was bumped to 62, changing it from a green Rotten Tomatoes score to a red fresh one.
Fresh baby.
Interesting.
The PR firm denied the allegation, telling New York Magazine in a statement, quote, "We have thousands of writers in our distribution list. A small handful have set up a specific system where filmmakers can sponsor or pay to have them review a film."
That makes sense.
They also said that they take, quote, "the integrity of their score seriously and do not tolerate any attempts to manipulate them."
Lies.
It seems like a very hard thing to prove that there was like widespread manipulation or corruption.
But you can do a campaign. You can pay off these people to, give certain scores, and then you can write it off. And then you can say, "We didn't do it." It's easy.
Sure,
It's
certainly.
easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. I always feel like Rotten Tomatoes is, in my experience, I feel like it's pretty accurate. I would say within 10 to 15%.
Bang.
That's
bingo.
what I think.
Yeah, 10 to 15%, you're safe.
It's pretty accurate. One way or the other. Like you're going to like it one way or the other, but probably, 10 to 15% off.
If it's not a movie you're going to enjoy, if the audience score is high, you're going to be like, "Oh, okay, it's fine," right? Like if you're a critic and it's like critics rated it high, you're still going to fall within like that range.
I think if you assume the buffer, that cancels out anyone that was bought and paid for, I would assume. I don't know.
Sleeper agents.
My opinion. Next thing, baby.
Travis Scott.
What about him? What did he do?
Travis Scott, right? So Travis Scott is back. We all remember Travis Scott.
Yeah, his album.
I was a big fan of Travis Scott
Utopia.
back in the day.
We are.
I still don't have anything against him. Like, I mean, I get the whole
Astro World
thing was weird. I liked his music. I'll say that.
I'm a big music fan of Travis Scott.
Music.
Yeah.
I'm not per se co-signing his behavior at live shows, but he's back on tour now. He's got a whole thing going.
Yeah.
And but apparently he has reached out to Marvel to collaborate on
do the
a
Blade
soundtrack.
That would be fun.
Now, what are the thoughts on Travis Scott as far as it relates to his show situation? I mean, how does that translate long term?
Let me.
Didn't people die in that situation?
Yeah, I'll say this, right? I went to a Travis Scott and Young Thug show at Webster Hall when I lived in New York. I want to say it was 2015, and it was one of the greatest shows I've ever been to.
And a lot more people died at that.
Not that.
Just kidding.
I'll say the energy that he perpetuates through the show and what he encourages. He brings a very much of a heavy metal rock element into a rap environment.
Yeah.
And that can be very unsafe because being someone of I'd say I'm of the rap community. Sometimes, those shows are not always the safest. If, you're dealing with it can be shady, right? But now you're incorporating two worlds that obviously in some cases don't really mesh. And he's encouraging fighting, stage diving, and I'm just going to say, like, sometimes those nuances just don't really blend.
Do you feel like he's being unsafe?
I don't think he's being unsafe now. I think he had to learn his lesson about that. And I think that's what made his shows so popular.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, he's meshing these two worlds. It's great. But like, you know, early on when you're seeing this stuff, you're like, yo, he's encouraging. Like,
was there a big payout on that show?
The Astral World thing?
Yeah.
So I don't
Whatever
think
happened.
I think
I'm trying to figure that out actually right now.
there was a stampede.
No, I know there was a stampede and a lot of people died. But there was like a bunch of lawsuits that popped up, right?
Yeah, because it wasn't like they were trying to hold him responsible.
Apple like endorse the show? Like they were doing it on Apple Music.
So yeah, Apple Music,
all these sponsors,
and there was like a bunch of lawsuits.
Yeah, Apple Music definitely had a suit filed against it.
Is that stuff come to?
It's hard to say whether they're what the results of any of this is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll speak freely. Like I from what I've garnered from the information, he was a producer of his tour show, and this Astro World thing is like his festival that he puts on with his sponsors and what have you.
Yeah.
And all of these lawsuits came about because of the environment that caused these people harm.
Yeah.
And they were trying to hold him solely responsible. And I think that's this is a tough kind of.
We don't have all the facts, guys.
I don't have all the facts, but it feels like a cash grab because he's the star, right? Like if something happened at a Beyonce or a Taylor Swift or a Jay-Z or a Drake, or if it happened at their show and you have the propensity to feel like you can file a claim because you are hurt or done, something is done to you at the show,
yes,
you're going to sue the person whose name is on the show.
But at the same time, it hasn't happened at any of those other shows.
So
yeah.
So does he have any culpability?
At Lollapalooza in 2015, Scott was charged with disorderly conduct after inciting concertgoers to ignore security and rush the stage. In 2017, he was arrested for similar conduct after a performance in Arkansas. He was again charged with disorderly conduct and received additional charges for inciting a riot and endangering the welfare of a minor. All charges were dropped. However, that same year, a fan sued Scott and the organizers of the concert in New York City after falling from the third level balcony after being dragged on stage, leaving the fan paralyzed. At that same concert, Scott was recorded encouraging other fans to jump off balconies, claiming that the crowd beneath them would catch them. And further, in 2019, 3 people were injured as a crowd rushed to enter the compound at Astroworld.
Mosh pits.
So it is a continual problem with him.
Right.
So it seems like he's not the best about that.
I don't. Yeah, he encourages this kind
it's not
of
a one-off
mosh pit, stage diving atmosphere, and I just don't think that it's safe. Right. I don't think that it's something you should be encouraging.
Agreed. However, one of my good friends, he went to one of the Astro Worlds. Mm-hmm. He said it was the best concert he ever been to in his life.
Oh, don't get me wrong. That concert was incredible.
Well, yeah, people were jumping off the third-story balconies. It's insane.
Risking their life
he was
for
in the
this
mosh
show.
pit,
Like,
he was saying it was one of the best experiences.
Yeah, it was an amazing show. Birdman came out. Like it was. It's crazy. It was great.
Dichotomy of,
but then you go to like something lesser of an unknown artist in a rock show, let's say a Ram's Head Live.
Sure.
And that's their environment. And, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah, but there's a lot of restrictions at those kinds of things. Like you're not the whole like rushing the stage, crowd like surfing, stage diving, jumping off balconies. That's not like a common thing.
No.
Like I've not seen, that's not something that you see at shows.
Even
like security is pretty tight at most shows, even at like pretty tame ones. Like you're not getting away with that kind of stuff.
No, you're not. Not from an audience standpoint.
Correct.
Yeah, and we both have very much good history in musical environments.
But if he's encouraging it
not
and overriding
thing.
the security,
he's telling the security, F the security, jump off. Like you can't do that. So does he? Do I think he should admit some responsibility in that regard?
No,
as
he should not, because then he'll be responsible.
No, yeah, he'll be
Well, you're
responsible.
talking like a lawyer.
But you're encouraging people to do this, which is then it's like
The question is he culpable in any sense?
yeah.
So,
There we
and
go.
Criminally, he's been cleared of all wrongdoing. Criminally.
Criminally, he hasn't been charged. The charges were dropped. He
He's
hasn't
an
been
artist
cleared
with
of
free.
anything.
He's an artist with free speech. He can tell you to, quote unquote, shoot yourself.
So nothing
in the
is
crowd.
but like
and,
nothing
you know
is
what I
going
mean?
to trial. So it's not like it's been tried.
Not criminally. Civilly, I'm sure settlements
They
have
can
been
find
paid
some
out
loopholes.
with NDAs that
Sure.
He'll
Yeah,
come to
sure,
some
sure.
settlements,
So there's
so
some
he don't
settlements,
gotta.
because he's
Yeah.
back on tour and
Here's another
Still
crazy
here.
number. So,
You got popcorn? Can I have some?
so no, there's none. I'm just eating.
this
I'm
happens
just eating
every
unpopped
time.
kernels at this point. So, several weeks before the concert, there was concerns about not having enough staff to guest ratio, and initially Harris County had declined Live Nation's offer to provide more staff because they had an exclusive security contract with a private company.
Got it.
They finally made an amendment to the contract that allowed Live Nation to provide more staff. In the end, Live Nation provided another 755 security officers, including 505 event security staff, 91 armed private security officers, and 76 off-duty police officers from Houston Police Department
Dude, that's a
paid
lot.
privately. That was just what was added by Live Nation.
You don't need that.
That's a lot.
That's crazy.
Well, it's going to be secure. At least you
well,
got that
to
going
say
for
that
you.
you don't need that and
You could just not
People
encourage
still
people to
died.
jump off balconies.
yeah, you
You
could.
could just perform your music.
But at this point, it's on brand.
But you are a multi-million-dollar brand. It's like you have ultimately paid the price for this. Like Astro Well was shut down for 2 years because of this. Like,
And now he's back on
and
tour.
it's back.
And it's bigger
he's
than
back
ever.
on
But
tour
I
with
bet
Exactly.
you he is not telling people to bum rush the stage.
I don't know. We'll have to go and find out.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I mean, this is the same
Yeah.
thing with Chris Brown and so many other celebrities. Like, these people are arguably pieces of shit.
These people.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean these people?
are arguably pieces of shit.
Oh, yeah, they're shitty
and their
people.
popularity skyrockets.
When they do some shitty shit.
Yes.
Can't be contained, dude.
Incredible.
Back to the original question,
Any
which is
publicity
whether or
is
not
good publicity.
should Marvel and Disney hook up?
I mean,
With the
Travis
boy
Scott is a
Travis
cash
Scott.
cow. He's a cash cow. And he's got, he's signed a,
When is his last record? When did his last record come out?
a couple
Damn
weeks
good
ago.
question.
A month
couple
ago.
of weeks ago.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago.
Like he's still because he definitely took some time off. He broke up with the Kardashian
Utopia was released July 28th.
Yeah.
July 20th.
A month- 2 months ago.
Wasn't he
Yeah.
with the Kardashian?
He's with, we talked about this. He's with
But he's not anymore.
Kylie Jenner.
Yeah,
And now
so he
she's
took-
with Timothy
He took some
Chalamet.
time off,
Yeah.
and he got rid of a Kardashian.
Yeah.
He's reinvented himself a little bit.
Yeah.
He's trying to come back out into the world. He's trying to
That's
get
also
that
strange.
trying to
but
get
that's
that
a different
Marvel
topic
Disney
for a different day.
contract.
You just get this type of money, man. The world just gets so wild. Now you can you marry you have 2 kids with a Kardashian, and now you can go talk to Disney. Like it's just
Yeah, they'll take your call, dude.
it's
They don't
just-
care.
It's just a crazy world that
Disney doesn't care
lives
how
in.
many people you've killed. They'll take your call. If you've
You
been with
know,
a
yeah,
Kardashian,
bro, it's
they're gonna
crazy.
take your call.
I think his style. Okay, let's just talk music for a second. I think his style of music for something like a Blade, given what we have, what was given to us in the archetype of what Blade was with the Wesley Snipes type of
Yes,
series, I think it's a perfect fit. I think it's an awesome match. Right?
I don't disagree.
I think that's incredible.
I think Travis Scott's music is great. I've
Yeah,
always
I
been a
love it.
Travis
I
Scott
love the
fan,
music,
so
man.
I'm in with it. But
Anyway,
I just didn't know if
don't
Disney
know.
would, hook up with somebody with such
I don't
a
even know
controversial
if this
past.
kid is even 30 yet. So I don't know if he has the maturity level. He's a cash cow, right? Like it is what it is.
I saw Travis Scott in concert once. I take this back.
You did?
I did.
Was it good?
I saw him. He opened for The Weeknd, Kissland tour.
That's when he was dating Rihanna.
I saw him there with the cactuses.
Yep. Cactus Jack.
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
March 1st, 2023, Scott was performing at Nebula alongside Don Tolliver when a sound technician asked Scott to lower the music as it was too loud for the venue size.
Fuck you.
Scott reportedly responded by giving the finger and punched him in the head, resulting in needing medical attention and police being called to the scene. Scott had reportedly been drinking alcohol and previously damaged $12,000 in the club's sound equipment before he left the premises. The NYPD issued a warrant for his arrest, and the matter was resolved with a settlement reached and the NYPD not pressing any charges.
I mean, he's clearly a troublemaker who allows.
It's part of the shtick, though, right?
It's part of his guise.
It's part of his thing
of being a rock star.
He's got to double down.
No, I mean, and
he's gonna have to kill more people.
Now, my question in that last situation is: the sound technician asked the artist to turn the music down. Sir, you are the sound technician. Turn the music down.
Turn them. Like, you don't have to argue with anyone. You are the sound technician.
That is true, though. It's not like Travis is running the audio.
Like, you are in a
Travis
booth.
is not
Just
running the
turn
front
it
of
down,
house,
bro.
It'd be hilarious if he was, though. He was like also behind the board. He was like, I do it myself.
Which I've seen.
He's behind the Midas wing.
I've seen.
He does it all. Lighting, sound, doing it all.
I don't know, man. This is a layered conversation. I think privileged artists can ultimately kind of do what they want, and if the music is good and they are making dollars, sponsors, business people are all like, who gives a crap? You know what I mean? Like, to Josh's point, like Louis C.K. just had another special out on Netflix.
I think comedians tend to get a little bit more leniency.
Comedians.
I'm not saying it's fair or not. I'm just saying.
Rappers. I feel like they kind of live. I feel like they kind of live in that same stratosphere.
Yeah.
And if Nike won't let them go, Disney will still pick them up.
Right. There we go. There you go. Right. They'll sit you on the bench for a little bit, and say, hey, you gotta chill out and let the smoke clear. And then they'll do a drop in 2 years, and you'll make back all of the money you missed, because the public's, what they do is, the public interests align with big brands. And if a big brand is like, we're doing the Travis Scott tennis shoe, we're doing the Travis Scott concert, we're doing the Travis Scott album to partner with the Blade movie, they're going to be like, oh, then
can you imagine the Blade Travis Scott Jordan 1s?
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be an amazing shoe. They don't give a crap if Travis Scott is a shitty person. They care less. It's money. It's money. And
there we are.
There we are. It's money.
So, real quick. So we're running out of time.
But we never talked about
I think. We're less than halfway through our news list.
That's okay. We can do a rapid round.
Okay. All right. That's great. That's fine. I was going to say, if you wanted to look at it and pick out the ones you wanted to talk
about.
You
want to talk about this real quick?
Well, we haven't yet. So I was just saying maybe it's a good time to.
Okay.
That's why you're here.
It's up to you.
So this is a very special bottle, in my opinion.
It's a very small batch.
VSB, very small batch, or a very special bottle.
Yeah, very special bottle or very small batch. Milam and Greene, man. We had one of their bottles on the show before. It was exceptional. This is even better than the last one. I can't say enough good things about this. Honestly.
Man, this is a delicious.
It's got all the flavor. It's 108 proof, which is high.
This is Taylor in the club when we take him to a Travis Scott concert.
It's going to get you a little bit.
But it tastes delicious. Very small batch, baby.
If you can find it, you gotta pick it up.
No, it's
if you can find it, you gotta pick it up.
This is a very good.
That's all I can say.
To my rap listeners who drink a lot of cognac, this is very on par with like what a smooth cognac may taste like. It honestly gives me Douce.
Don't insult the bourbon like that.
No, this is way better. But if you are trying to look to transition to something that's better and drink bourbon, I know a lot of people, a lot of my followers are like cognac drinkers or what have you. This is the way to go, like right here. Yeah. If you like that.
High marks,
man. I love it.
I don't think this might be the first time we've ever told you to go buy something if you see it.
Yeah, buy that. If you see it, buy it.
I would wager probably anything from this distiller. It's absolutely excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to move into a little bit of a rapid fire round, just because we want to get through.
We've been drinking, eating expensive cheeses.
Christopher Nolan and James Bond, guys.
All right, so there was a little bit of a rumor that came out. None of this has been confirmed, but there is Christopher Nolan has in the past expressed interest in being involved in the James Bond universe in some capacity. Recently, there was a report that suggested that Christopher Nolan has been approached with a contract for basically two James Bond. No, two. He's going to do two James Bond films.
You know they will structure that
back to back. I don't think he wants to be attached to anything long term. I think he low key regrets that from the Batman thing. I don't know if he wants to be like all in on anything anymore. But the rumor suggests that he's going to do two back to back, and that he would have complete creative control over those two James Bond films.
I'm here for it.
I don't know if I want to see that.
The only issue is
why?
I don't disagree with him necessarily. I think Christopher Nolan is probably best on his own without being affiliated to like
a character,
something that is already well established,
an IP.
So there was some reports that came out shortly thereafter that were suggesting that this is likely inaccurate because many people don't think that he would be able to get that level of control over the James Bond.
I don't think so either.
Like he was saying, or I guess they were saying, that this contract included the rights to basically pick who James Bond would be. And it would be 100% creative control. And so there were some conflicting reports coming out. Anyway, I guess just that this was news because there was some discussion as to what his contract structure would potentially look like should there be a James Bond franchise attached to him or series attached to him. But neither here nor there. None of this is confirmed. It's all rumor and conjecture. But
creatively, I think Christopher Nolan would produce an amazing James Bond film.
Yes.
Like
I don't disagree.
You and I both are big Christopher Nolan fans. I think what he did with Batman, as far as like an action thriller, was just top notch. He grounded The Dark Knight in a way that had never been done. My only objection to that was that it lived outside of a DC universe and was kind of isolated, but
which would have to be.
It would have to be for him to, I get into an argument with one of my good friends all the time. And he's like, it's not a comic book movie because there's no comic book elements. It's just a man in a suit doing a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, well, that's Batman, but whatever. Now, James Bond, I think if Christopher Nolan were to do James Bond, it would be tough because he would have to establish, outside of how he does his movies creatively, right? And then his cinematography, much how the Daniel Craig run was done is still kind of similar to like how Christopher Nolan shoots his stuff. So what is Christopher Nolan gonna do different with an action franchise that is different than what was done with Daniel Craig and then like what was done with like The Dark Knight? Because you don't want to do James Bond and it was just James Bond. It was just Batman, but James Bond. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was the Daniel Craig series, but like he just shot it different. Like, what lore? Like, what is he gonna create as far as like as far as telling the story that's gonna be different from this?
I have a theory on this, but let Isaiah get in on it.
One, Bond is based off books.
Yes.
So you have to follow canon some way, somehow, a little bit,
absolutely,
at least. It's going to be shot. If he does do this, the cinematography is going to be great. It's going to be shot beautifully.
Oh, of course, I don't.
My issue is Christopher Nolan makes very introspective, make you think, make you really take a deep look into the character.
That's true.
Yeah, which has never been done. We've never got an in-depth look of who and what the James Bond character is, like himself.
Which is my point. That is not what Bond is, and that's not what you should get from Bond.
Like, we got a salty Daniel
I don't
Craig.
know. It kind of did in Skyfall.
Yeah,
yes, I do think that the Daniel Craig series approached that more than previous series.
Certainly.
It wrapped up with
sure.
Bond. It got into his personal life.
Yeah, but
we gotta get. I don't know, man. It's just gotta be a little different. Yeah,
I don't want to know why you kill people. Bond is sex, money, espionage,
Sure.
and saving the world from a universal bad.
You're always going to have like different camps, right? Like there's people like you that really want to just cut to the basics of who James Bond is. Then there's obviously always going to be the other camp that is like, well, he's kind of a faceless person that has no personality, has no backstory, there's nothing there. It's just the same thing every movie. And when they get to experience the Daniel Craig version, they feel like, oh man, there is more substance to this. And they find intrigue in that. So they attach to it more so. I don't disagree with your statements at all. But I do think for Christopher Nolan, I think it's possible, and I think the only way that it could be done is if they just said to Christopher Nolan, like, okay, we're going to take a pause on our James Bond roadmap for the time being. You take 2 movies, you shoot them back to back. It's like one big long movie, but you shoot them back to back. You pick everything. Pick the character. You can write the story if you want. It can be original. It can be based on the books. You do whatever you want. This is an experiment. This is just we're turning the keys over for the time being. You make something dope. In the meantime, we'll go find out who the next Bond is going to be for us.
We'll do our own Bond thing.
We'll figure out the next writer. We'll get the next director.
This is a filler.
Like,
this is filler stuff. Yeah,
go nuts.
Okay, I like that.
Go nuts.
Go
nuts
crazy.
for 2 films.
Dark Knighted.
Yeah. And like do it back to back. Like make it almost like
2 summers.
Bookend it.
Yeah.
So like shoot the whole thing, cut it in half, make it just your story of James Bond.
July
part 1,
2026,
part 2.
July 2027.
Exactly.
Boom,
back
boom.
to back.
Yeah.
So you fill some space for us. We're going to pick up like where Daniel Craig left off, we're going to pick up there. But you take the next 4 years.
It's
you have
the Matt Reeves Batman versus what's going on with Ben Affleck.
And then what you do, like whatever Christopher does, is not attached to us.
It's at all.
To our
You're telling
canon,
your own
you're
story.
doing your own thing. Like we trust you.
I like that.
We trust you in your creative vision, and we'll trust you with the IP.
like that.
You go nuts for a couple of years.
Yeah, it's like
and then
James
pick
Bond
back up.
canon is 007, Quantum of Solace, or whatever. And then this is Bond, James Bond. Christopher Nolan, part 1, part 2.
That's a great name, actually. Bond, James Bond. And then he just
But
tells.
like, let him run with it. Go do what you want.
All right.
Come back.
Let's do a fantasy cast. Who should Christopher Nolan pick as his Bond? Because he only works with a select few of actors, which is interesting.
I don't know, man.
He likes Denzel's son, John Washington.
I don't know if I have an answer to this.
I don't know if I'd put him as Denzel. I mean, as Bond, but
No, he messed it up in Tenet. Well, he didn't mess it up in Tenet, but that was as close as he'll get to Bond.
yeah. Who? I don't want to get off. Who's doing the creator?
That's what's his face. It did Rogue One.
It's right on the tip of my tongue. But all right, we'll come back to that.
You talking about directing?
Yeah.
Gareth Edwards.
Got you.
The guy that did Rogue One did Creator, which by the way has been getting rave reviews. Everyone's saying it's the best
hearing it's
sci-fi film in like
Pretty
a decade.
good.
So
we'll check it out. We'll give you our reviews.
But anyway, neither here nor there.
He only works with
It's tough. I don't know. He's worked with enough people that he could find somebody to do it. I'm not really that
Does he get
worried
Leo?
about it. But no, Leo's too old and he's too goofy looking.
because
He just
Killers
is.
of the Flower Moon is coming out. He looks super
he's too
goofy
old
in
and he's
it.
too goofy looking. He'd have to have somebody that's a little bit more like
Especially
I think
following up the Daniel Craig.
a little bit more buttoned up.
If this
a
was
little more
10 years ago, and there were rumors of this after Craig announced his retirement, I would have loved to have seen Idris Elba
Yes.
as Bond.
Yes.
But I do think
10
he's
years
probably
ago.
too
That could
old.
be cool. That could be cool. That's not.
Yeah.
I mean, but I
mean-
do think that ship might have sailed.
Yeah.
He's in his 50s. Do we think he can do it?
What's his name? Bane? Who's Bane? Who was Bane?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy. Maybe.
That's a good one.
Maybe Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Tom Hardy's kind of like...
He's kind of suave, but he's also kind of
Yeah,
rough.
but he's a little too much of a bad boy.
Yeah, he's...
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not as like...
Bond.
There's like a regalness to a Bond that, I don't know, Tom Hardy... I don't know.
Yeah. There is only 5 years between Tom Hardy and Idris Elba.
Yeah, true.
Here's the thing. Christopher Nolan can put whoever he wants
Who's
in
the guy
Bond role.
who played, anybody familiar with Peaky Blinders?
Yeah.
Who's the guy who plays Tommy Shelby?
Look, you have a computer in front of you.
I'm looking it up now.
Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, I was going to say
He'd be a good Bond.
Cillian Murphy as Bond? He was just Oppenheimer.
It just seems...
I don't know.
What you think?
You'd have to
You saw Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a little too much of like a... He's a little too like studious. He's a little too odd.
I don't know if he can do action.
A little strange.
You know what? You'd have to, if I'm being honest, you'd have to bulk him out a little bit.
He's a very...
I don't know.
That's true.
You'd have to get it. He'd have to hit the gym.
He's
and
a very like jump scare guy.
Maybe
like,
if he like filled out, because he's kind of got like that, kind of like a little bit of like a hollowed out face a little bit. He's got really like strong features.
You want somebody with a strong chin.
He's a little too like odd, you know?
Yeah.
He's just, not, I mean, he's a good looking guy, but you'd have to build him up a little bit.
He always gives squirrely villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if he like, again, if he bulked out, maybe he would, you know, maybe he could change his
he's too
feature.
old to
I don't
care.
know. But I think he's probably a little old. Anyway,
Right.
moving
Yeah.
on.
Going from the blockbuster of James Bond to the next big blockbuster, Good Burger 2.
Oh, Good Burger 2. Yeah, we're going to try to get back to the speed round here. Are you a Good Burger fan?
Yeah.
First one?
Yeah.
Everybody here?
Haven't seen it.
Have you never saw Good
I
Burger?
know the bit.
Never saw it.
from all
Welcome to
that,
Good
but-
Burger, home with a good burger.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
flashback for
It's
me.
awesome.
It takes me back to the days of Nickelodeon.
I mean,
I'm excited for it. I'm a little bummed. I don't know, in the sense that I feel like it's coming out on Paramount Plus, right?
Yeah.
There's
Is
a part
it?
of me that like I don't know. Do you not miss Nickelodeon to a certain extent?
Yeah,
It's
certainly.
like not a thing anymore, right?
Yeah.
So there's a part
Yeah.
of me that feels, I don't know, like I just wish it was coming out on a platform that was more like
dedicated to this type
dedicated
of...
to that type of.
I think there's an
show or
opportunity
movie,
there. Like
but-
you can get those actors who are still prominent in Hollywood
Yeah.
to like kind of revisit those characters in a new type of tone. Like, you know, bringing back Good Burger with Keenan and Kel. Like, you know, what can we do with Amanda Bynes? Or like, what can we do with the All That crew?
As
Like,
long as it's cheap enough, I think that they can find
yeah,
success there.
yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a huge success, but if it costs them very little to make, then they'll make it back just on the name alone.
yeah.
But I don't think the Good Burger like humor and like all of that, like I don't think it's going to translate well to today.
Because
There's gonna be huge
one, we're
success.
old, and that humor is just kind of past us. So you're reaching for a community. I don't know if that is
Still there.
necessarily there, and
Yeah.
like the sketch comedy kind of like
Slapstickiness.
slapsticky audience, like, you know, they just kind of go watch SNL. Like they don't,
Yeah.
you know,
I
like
feel like it might be like Super Mario though, where they're going for that nostalgia kind of thing.
No, there you go, Josh.
And that they can potentially still pull in a younger crowd with the silliness and
Maybe.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got the original cast. Lori Beth Dinberg's going to be in it.
Really,
Josh Server,
That's
right?
the full size woman.
Yes,
from-
that did the news.
I got my fingers crossed for him. I hope it's
Yeah.
great.
I hope it's great, man. Like I loved Good Burger 1. I you know, that's our, you know.
Yeah, but I guess the piece here was that I think it's going straight to streaming.
November
Plus.
22nd.
Yeah, so it's coming up.
Going straight
Coming
to
up, baby.
streaming.
Never a good sign.
I don't
But
know
here
if
we
that is the best angle, because it can really get mulled over.
Maybe.
All right. Speaking of streaming, Love is Blind season 5 this Friday.
Oh yeah, you guys got to pay attention and watch this.
I will.
I was the only one that watched Love Ultimatum last time.
You did.
So
Yeah,
it's really
I'm
on
sorry
my
about
own.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry
You guys really abandoned me on this.
that happened to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So Friday, 2 days,
2 days from now.
22nd.
3 days ago.
Yeah, Love
Depending.
is. Yeah, correct. For those when they're watching, Love is Blind, dude.
All right.
Coming out season 5.
Gotcha.
This is easy. You can watch this.
Yep.
Yeah, it's how many episodes?
Put this on.
Probably 8 or 10.
I think it's 8. Yeah, 8 to 10.
It's not a lot.
No, it's nothing.
Moving on.
Yeah, move on, baby.
Saw 10 parody trailer gets pulled.
Oh, yeah.
A what?
So, I think this is the last
That
piece
didn't
of the
sound
thing,
like
right?
any type of words. What did you just say?
Saw 10 parody
Saw 10,
trailer.
got you, okay.
So there's a trailer out there with Nicole Kidman, and this plays.
I think I saw that.
This plays at the beginning. When you go to a movie in a theater, they play this ad. It's Nicole Kidman, and she's trying to hype up and pitch the theater-going experience and how important it is that we all come back to the theater.
Like when we went and saw Maverick, and it was him and the director in the beginning.
Yeah, it's very
corny.
It's very corny. It's very I don't know. It's very idealistic. All these things. Like she's blowing a lot of smoke.
Come back to the movies.
So they recreated the same exact trailer, but with the little creepy clown guy from Saw.
I saw, yeah.
And it's all Saw themed things. So it's like the same script, but instead of like, they just replace it with like Saw things, right? So it's in the context of that space.
Ridiculous.
And that was one of the trailers for Saw 10.
Ridiculous.
And so now theaters are refusing to play Saw 10
Why?
unless they pull that ad because they feel like, I guess it's
Cheating?
it's distasteful. It is kind of like funny, like it's a funny ad.
So they don't want to play the movie if they play the ad, but they'll play the movie if the ad is gone?
Yeah, they're basically saying that you have to pull the ad. You have to take the ad down.
I don't know why.
I think AMC in particular, I think AMC actually paid for the Nicole Kidman ad. And I think that they're basically saying like, hey, we're not going to play Saw 10 if you guys are going to continue to run
it's no
this ad.
secret that we think people who run movie theaters are idiots. So
It's still available online. You can go look at it if you want. Saw 10 parody trailer. If you look that up, it'll pop up. But I don't know what'll ultimately happen.
ridiculous.
I mean, it's still online, so I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyway, I think that's the last thing we have.
Barbie was the last thing.
Oh, you added
Courtney
that. I didn't add that. What is
I
it?
thought Barbie was great.
Barbie at $1 billion? Oh, you saw it.
Yeah,
You watched it.
I thought it was great. Shout out to Josh.
Let's go, baby. Ending on Barbie.
I thought it was awesome. I thought the best.
It was hilarious.
It sucks to say that I think the best. Well, for Margot Robbie, awesome performance. Like she was incredible. But I very much empathize with the sentiment of the part of the story that Ken was trying to like perpetuate. Like that's amazing. Like men being like, I need a woman in my life because like I got this mini fridge and like you can't fit anything in the freezer. Like you can't live. You need a woman in your life because I can't actually live with this mini fridge and a freezer. And I thought that was great. They take over the Barbie mansions and they put flat screen TVs everywhere. Like that's very much what men would do. And I just enjoy. It's very layered and subtle with the storytelling and like how the story is perpetuated throughout, and like how he discovers like patriarchy. And he's like, when I realized that they don't have horses, I just was kind of like, I didn't even really care anymore. Yeah. And that's very much like a man thing. It was just, telling the story of, how Barbies identify, how women identify with Barbies and how that correlates to their social development. I thought that was an awesome piece. And then I didn't even realize that the mom was Ugly Betty. My wife, when she's like, is that Ugly Betty? And I was like,
America Ferrera.
Yeah, I was like, damn, that's Ugly Betty. So it was just so many great pieces when the men roll up.
Yes, dude. It's amazing.
It's
so funny.
The best way I can categorize it is one long SNL skit because that's Will Ferrell. That was a surprise, and he was great. And he was, in the part where he's like, "Oh, all right, don't hug me. We're gonna all tickle each other." And then the guy goes to hug him. He's like, "Don't hug me. We can tickle. Don't hug me." Like it's just very. It was. Oh man, it was awesome. And if you love SNL, that's what I felt like it was. One long SNL skit. I laughed through the entire thing.
Very good.
Could have been what I was drinking and whatever else, but whatever.
So I don't know how much time we have left, but
infinite, really. I mean, as long as
At
you
this
want
point.
to, as long as you want to sit here.
Who cares?
We generally try to keep to an hour, but it's right.
So I had a very interesting conversation about Barbie a couple days ago, actually. So a group of people I know went to go see it, and one of them originally didn't want to go see it, but she just went because of the group. And she didn't want to go see it because of the way Barbie was advertised. But when she left the movie, she felt like, oh, this is a great movie. The movie was really good. It had some of the comedic moments in it that were just kind of dumb and stupid, but like the overall message of the movie was pretty spot on.
It's very layered and with so much messaging.
She really enjoyed it, and she made the point that if it were advertised that way, she would have been way more.
We talked about this. I had no idea what the movie was about.
Emily was not interested at all really in it. And then when it kind of came out and a few weeks later, like everybody was talking about it and she's like, well, I guess we got to go see it now because like everyone says it's so good. So then we wound up going to check it out. And that's how we got to it. But initially, like nobody was really tracking with it on the front end. But
they did a really weird job of advertising it and then not giving away what the story was. Because I had no idea this is where the story was going when I was watching.
But it's also made over $1 billion.
That's
so
crazy.
At the same time, like I get this concept of like it was advertised kind of in a weird way.
They
but
advertised.
I almost wonder though if it was advertised in the right way.
Did it work?
It was.
Yeah.
Because to be
honest,
if you advertise it in a way that projects what the movie's really about, then you get a bunch of people,
and patriarchy.
Then you get a bunch of left wing.
The Proud Boys would have been out front.
I think you lose some of the nuance to it if you try to be super honest or like super straightforward about like all of the intricacies.
The fascists and the you know the male egos would have been trying to stop people from going to see it. And I just thought, I don't know, man. I being a girl dad, being married, and living in a house with all women, like sometimes you have to put the female guys forward to kind of understand.
Yeah, put your foot down, dude.
Yeah, shut up.
All right, guys. Episode 67. We went on a little long. This was great.
Was fun,
Josh is going to be out of town for a few weeks.
That's correct.
So we may have a couple of maybe guests. Maybe
we'll call some
skip
people,
an episode or
whatever.
two. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll just call random people and just put them.
All right, Josh. Enjoy your trip.
Thanks
enjoy
so
your
much.
time away.
You want to tell everybody where you're going?
PTO is well earned.
Snipe you out.
Oh no, that's all right. I'll keep that quiet.
No one even knows what you look like.
He's going to be traveling. He's going to be traveling around the world. It's going to be great.
International man of mystery.
Josh. Who knows? He could be the next James Bond.
That's right, baby.
Meeting Christopher Nolan.
There you go.